There's a kind of betrayal that doesn't come with a warning. It doesn't come from strangers. It doesn't come from enemies. It doesn't come from people who hate you. It comes from the person who braided your hair when you were 7, the person who shared your bed when the lights went out, the person whose blood runs in the same direction as yours. It comes from your sister. And when it arrives, it doesn't knock. This story deserves to be told properly. Not the Twitter thread version, not the my husband's second wife TikTok version, the full thing. Because what happened between these two sisters, what happened between Adaeze and Nkechi, didn't start where most people think it started. It didn't start with the husband. It didn't start with jealousy. It started years before either of them knew what marriage even meant, with a decision their mother made when Adaeze was 12 years old. And the person who made this entire thing possible? It wasn't Nkechi. It wasn't Emeka. It was someone they both trusted more than anyone on earth.
This path requires
someone who was
patience.
supposed to protect them
Be wise
both.
in your choice.
There was one specific night, one conversation, one sentence spoken in a dark room that broke everything. And Adaeze wasn't even in the room when it happened. What she did when she finally understood the truth, that's the part of this story that will stay with you. Because it wasn't rage, it wasn't revenge, it was something worse. But the beginning is where this has to start. Two little girls who loved each other. Adaeze was the first daughter, born in 1989 in a compound in Enugu, the kind of compound where everybody's business is everybody's business, where your neighbor's mother can discipline you and your own mother will thank her for it. She was smart, quiet smart, not loud smart, the kind of girl who watched everything and said nothing. Her teachers loved her. Her mother, well, her mother had expectations. You know the kind of expectations that come with being a first daughter in a Nigerian family. The weight of that sentence lives in the chest before it's ever spoken out loud. Nkechi came 4 years later, 1993, and she was different. Nkechi was the one who laughed too loud in church, the one who could talk her way out of punishment, the one everybody called fine girl before she even understood what that meant. And here's the thing about Adaeze and Nkechi. They were close. Not the performative kind of close you see on social media, the real kind. The kind where Adaeze would stay awake during Harmattan, rubbing shea butter on Nkechi's legs when her skin cracked. The kind where Nkechi would fight, physically fight, any boy in the street who said anything disrespectful about her sister. They were each other's person. And if this were a folk tale, if Tortoise were telling this story, this is where he would smile. Because Tortoise knows something about closeness. He knows that the people you trust the most are the ones positioned perfectly to destroy you. But this isn't a folktale. Not yet. There was something else about their childhood that nobody talked about. Adaeze was raised differently from Nkechi. Same house, same parents, same food on the table, but different rules, different expectations, different love, if you can even call it that. Adaeze cooked. Adaeze cleaned. Adaeze was pulled from school at 3 p.m. to help in the kitchen while Nkechi played outside with the neighbor's children. When Adaeze asked why, Mama said, "You are the first daughter. You are training for your husband's house." Adaeze was 12 years old. She didn't argue. First daughters don't argue. First daughters obey. And this is where the story actually begins. Now, before this goes further, there's something that needs to be understood about the system that made this story possible. Because what happened to Adaeze didn't happen because Nkechi was evil. It didn't happen because Emeka was especially wicked. It happened because there is a machinery, an old machinery that exists in certain families, certain cultures, certain traditions that treat daughters as investments, not children, investments. In many parts of Nigeria, and this is not pointed at one ethnic group, because it crosses Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, and everything in between. There is a belief that a good marriage, a successful marriage, is not just about the man and the woman, it's about the families. And when it's about the families have a stake, a financial, social, and reputational stake. Your daughter marries well, that's currency, that's status, that's security. Your daughter's marriage fails, that's shame, that's a debt unpaid, that's a reflection on your parenting. A woman, her name will not be used here, once told her story to someone who recorded every word. She said, "In my family, when my elder sister's husband started showing interest in me, my mother didn't stop. My mother said, make sure he pays the bride price, a full bride price, not a discount because you are already family." She said this like she was describing the weather, no emotion, just fact. When she was asked, "Did you want to marry him?" she looked at the question like it was the most irrelevant thing anyone had ever said to her. This is the context the story requires. Not every family operates this way. Many Nigerian families would never allow this. Many would fight it. Many have fought it. But in the families where this machinery exists, it runs quietly. It runs on silence, on obedience, on the idea that a mother knows what's best for her daughters. And Adaeze's mother, her mother was an engineer of this machinery. Adaeze married Emeka in 2012. She was 23, he was 31. And for 3 years, things were okay. Okay is the most dangerous word in a Nigerian marriage. The first 3 years of Adaeze and Emeka's marriage were fine. He worked, she worked, they went to church on Sundays, they visited his family during Christmas, her family during Easter. They argued about money the way every married couple argues about money. Normal things, regular things. But there was one problem. And in certain families, in certain cultures, this one problem is enough to unravel everything. They didn't have a child. 3 years, no child. And in Nigeria, this doesn't need much explanation. 3 years without a child is not just a medical situation. It's a social situation. It's a family situation. It's a situation where people who have no business being in your bedroom suddenly have opinions about your bedroom. Emeka's mother started calling. Not to check on them, to check on the situation. Has she seen her period? Have you gone for tests? My friend's daughter-in-law, she went to this pastor in Aba, and within 2 months, that kind of calling. Anyone Nigerian listening right now knows the exact tone of that phone call right now. The voice is familiar. The woman might even be familiar. Adaeze went for tests. Everything was normal. Emeka went for tests. Everything was normal. The doctor said, "Give it time. You're both healthy. These things take time." But time is a luxury that childless Nigerian wives don't have. By year 3, the whispers started. Not from strangers, from family. Emeka's uncles at family meetings. A man needs an heir. Emeka's mother no longer whispering. There are other options. And Adaeze's own mother, Mama, who should have been her shield, her protector, her advocate. Mama said nothing. And in a Nigerian family, when a mother says nothing while her daughter is being seckled, that silence is not neutral. That silence is permission. There's an old Igbo saying, when the mother hen stops guarding her chick, the hawk does not ask why, it simply descends. Some people think that saying is about enemies. It has always been about family. Nkechi was 22 when she started visiting Adaeze's home more frequently. At first, it was normal. Sisters visit, sisters help. Nkechi would come on weekends, help Adaeze cook, play with the neighbors' children, sit in the living room watching Africa Magic while Emeka worked late. Normal. Then the visits got longer. Then Mama started suggesting the visits. Nkechi has nothing doing this weekend. Let her come and stay with you.
Yes,
keep you company.
That sounds
Nkechi is learning to cook jollof rice. Let her practice in your kitchen. You look stressed, Adaeze. Let Nkechi come and help you. And Adaeze, because she was the first daughter, because she was trained to obey, because she loved her sister, because she trusted her mother, said yes. Every single time. Now, before this goes further, if you have ever been the kind of person who kept the peace when your spirit was telling you something was wrong, this channel understands you. Subscribe. New stories every week. The kind that don't get told anywhere else. Now, back to Adaeze, who was about to discover that the people setting the trap were the same ones handing her the cheese.
There's something that needs to be said here. Because right now, some people listening are thinking she should have seen it coming. No. That's the cruelty of this. She couldn't see it coming because the people who were setting it up were the people she believed would never hurt her. You can't defend yourself against a weapon you don't know exists. And Adaeze didn't know. Not yet. What she noticed first wasn't about Nkechi and Emeka. What she noticed first was about Nkechi and Mama. Phone calls that ended when Adaeze walked into the room. Conversations in Igbo that switched to English. The watered-down, nothing to see here English the moment Adaeze appeared. Something was being planned, and Adaeze was the only person in her own family who didn't know what it was. Emeka started changing in small ways. Not the dramatic kind of change you see in Nollywood movies. Not sudden cruelty or cold shoulders. Small things. He started complimenting
Here,
Nkechi's
Emeka,
cooking.
try this.
This jollof is better
delicious.
than the
Your
one
cooking
from
is
that
the best.
restaurant on Ogui Road.
I knew you'd like
He
it.
started offering to drive Nkechi home at night instead of calling an Uber. It's late, the roads are unsafe, I'll drop her. He started buying two
A good
of
choice.
things.
These are popular.
2 wrappers
Yes,
from the market.
I'll take them.
2 bottles of perfume at Christmas. 1 for you, 1 for your sister. You know I consider her family. Family. He considered her family. Adaeze noticed these things. She stored them in a place inside herself where uncomfortable truths go to wait. Every woman has that place. A mental room where you put the things you've seen but are not ready to confront. The text message that came too late. The smile that lasted too long. The compliment that was aimed at someone else but delivered in your presence. You put them in the room, you close the door, and you tell yourself, I'm overthinking this. Some people have that room. Some people are sitting in it right now. It was Nkechi who told her, not intentionally, not as a confession. They were in the kitchen, a Sunday afternoon. Emeka was at a meeting. Adaeze was cutting vegetables. Nkechi was on the phone with Mama. And Adaeze heard Nkechi say, in that casual, throwaway tone that people use when they have already accepted something as normal. Mama, I told you, he said he wants to do the introduction by December. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Adaeze will understand. You said she would understand. Adaeze will understand. 3 words. Her mother, her sister, her husband. All in agreement. All planning, all waiting for Adaeze to understand. If you've been listening and you've already guessed how this ends, drop it in the comments, because what Adaeze did next is not what most people guess, and if you are wrong, you owe this channel a like. Stay. Something needs to be said about what happened to Adaeze's hands in that moment. She was holding a knife when she heard that sentence. She didn't throw it. She didn't scream. She didn't turn around. Her hands started shaking, not from anger, from something deeper than anger, from the feeling of the ground disappearing beneath your feet while you are standing perfectly still. The English word for it is shock, but in Igbo, the closest word is odachi, a catastrophe that arrives not from outside your life, but inside it. Adaeze put the knife down. She finished cutting the vegetables. She served food. She sat at the table while Nkechi ate, while Nkechi laughed, while Nkechi talked about a movie she'd watched on her phone, and Adaeze said nothing. First daughters don't react. First daughters endure. But that night, after Nkechi had gone to sleep in the guest room, after the compound had gone quiet, after even the generator had coughed itself to silence, Adaeze called her mother. And what Mama said on that phone call is the part of this story that refuses to leave. It was past midnight when Adaeze called. Mama picked up on the second ring, which tells you something. Mama was awake. Mama was expecting this call because Mama knew that Nkechi wasn't careful with her words. Mama knew that eventually Adaeze would hear something, and Mama, the engineer, had already prepared her response. Adaeze didn't cry on the phone. She asked one question. Mama, is Nkechi marrying my husband? And Mama said, Adaeze, listen to me. You have been married for 3 years. 3 years. No child. Emeka's family is talking. His mother is talking. His uncles are talking. How long will he wait? Is it not better that it is your sister, someone you know, someone from your family, instead of a stranger, instead of some girl from outside who will come and push you out entirely? Nkechi is your blood. She will respect you. She will know her place. And when she gives him a child, because she will give him a child, that child will be your family, your blood, your child too. This is not betrayal, Adaeze. This is protection. I am protecting you. I am protecting you. That's what she said. She repackaged the destruction of her daughter's marriage as an act of love. And here's what makes this unbearable. She might have actually believed it. That is the thing about this machinery. It doesn't require villains. It doesn't require evil people twirling mustaches and plotting in dark rooms. It just requires people who have internalized this system so deeply that they can hand their daughter's husband to their other daughter and genuinely believe they are doing the right thing. Adaeze listened to her mother's entire speech. Every word. She didn't interrupt. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. When Mama finished, Adaeze asked one more question. Mama, is Nkechi marrying my husband? And Mama said, Nkechi wants what is best for this family, which was not a no, which was never going to be a no. And that's when Adaeze understood. Not just the plan, not just the betrayal, not just the phone calls and the visits and the jollof rice compliments and the 2 bottles of perfume. She understood something worse. She understood that she was never the daughter her mother was protecting. She was the daughter her mother was willing to sacrifice. The first daughter, the obedient one, the one trained since 12 years old to endure. Mama didn't protect Adaeze because Mama loved her. Mama trained her to accept this. Everything, the cooking, the cleaning, the you are training for your husband's house, the obedience, the silence, the first daughter expectations. It wasn't preparation for marriage, it was preparation for this. What Adaeze did next is the part I warned you about. It wasn't rage, it wasn't revenge. She hung up the phone, she sat in the dark for the rest of the night, and when morning came, she made breakfast. She made breakfast for Nkechi, she made breakfast for Emeka. She set the table, she boiled the eggs the way Emeka liked them, she poured the tea, and when they sat down, her sister and her husband, sitting at her table in her house, eating her food, Adaeze stood in the kitchen doorway and said, I know. Just that. I know. She didn't say what she knew. She didn't explain. She didn't give them the gift of a fight because a fight would have allowed them to feel like she was being unreasonable. She just said, I know. And then she went to the bedroom and she packed a bag. Not everything, not dramatically. One bag, her documents, her phone, her Bible, a photo of her and Nkechi from when they were children. She took a photo of the 2 of them as children and she left. She didn't go to Mama's house. She went to an aunt's house, her father's sister, the one member of the family who had warned Mama years ago that this would happen. Nkechi married Emeka 4 months later. Mama attended the wedding. Nkechi had a baby girl within a year. And Adaeze is alive, she walks, she prays. She has not spoken to her mother in 2 years. She has not spoken to Nkechi in 2 years. She told me, and this is the line that broke me. She said, I didn't lose a husband. Husbands can be replaced. I lost my sister and I lost my mother. And those don't come back. I told you at the beginning that this story was about a kind of betrayal that doesn't come from enemies. And it is. But it's also about something else. Something we don't talk about enough. It's about the way certain families treat their daughters as resources to be managed, moved,
traded, sacrificed, all in the name of family, all in the name of protection. And it's about the first daughters everywhere, in every culture, in every compound, who are raised to be strong enough to carry everyone else, but never told they were allowed to put the load down. If you are that daughter, this story was for you. Not as entertainment, as recognition. Someone sees you. This is what I do here on this channel. I tell the stories that live in Nigerian homes, in Nigerian streets, in Nigerian families, the ones that don't make the news but shape every life they touch. I tell them the way they deserve to be told, with weight, with honesty, with respect. If that means something to you, subscribe. I'm just getting started, and the stories only get deeper from here. Speaking of stories about marriage and the things hiding inside them, there's an old folktale, one of the oldest in all of West Africa, about a woman who fell in love with a man so perfect, so beautiful, so everything she'd ever wanted, that she ignored every warning her family gave her. She followed him home, but when they reached where he lived, she realized he wasn't a man at all. That one is right here. The night has more stories. I'll see you in the next one.